Okay, so this is the new ConkerCam. I'm going to take a look around the device, show you what comes with it and explain some of the key features. So we're obviously looking at the front of the device, and it's really just taken up by this big camera, but also there's a whole bunch of sensors and things going on here because the device works very effectively in low light and has a very wide angle view camera. Over on the right hand side of the device we've got a port cover for the USB. It's got a port cover because the device is IP67, so this can be dropped, it can be submerged, it can get wet, nothing's going to get into this device. So we also have a large and obvious SOS button which, if linked up to a central monitoring station and with network connectivity, can send an alarm call to that monitoring station. Otherwise, for the device itself, it doesn't serve a purpose, only if it's hooked up to a monitoring station. On the other side, you see we've got buttons to power on the device. This button is to record audio only, and this is to turn on the flashlight. This is just a button to, like an OK button, to wake the device up. But most importantly, because of how you wear the device will generally be worn and the user will be looking down on the device. The two most important buttons are to start and stop recording, or to take a high quality, high resolution photo. On the back of the device we've got the slot for clips, and I'll show you the different clips that are available with the device in a minute. A screen which can actually be disabled for users, but generally speaking the screen would be enabled, and then buttons along the bottom of the device to control the settings on the screen. Those can also be disabled for users, but again in the standard configuration I'm going to show you those have options that we can buzz our way through. And on the bottom of the device we've got connectivity for charging and a dock. The battery on this device is sealed in the device, and the reason that we've made that decision is because we've been able to put in a much larger battery than if the battery was removable. We can service the battery if needed, if these devices are running for years and a battery replacement is required. Now, what comes with the device for charging is a small single dock like this, and quite simply the device just drops into the dock and clicks out of the dock. Very satisfying click and connection, drops in, drops out. The device is hooked up to USB for connection to a computer, and also for charging over USB, or if it's intended for use for charging only, then you have got a DC in port as well if you're not connecting it on USB. USB cable comes in the box. Now just quickly, here is probably the default clip for the device, which is to clip on to, say, a top pocket, or to clip on to clothing. So this is a highly effective clip, and that's a very strong spring. The alternative is a clip that could be positioned so that the device can hang from the shoulder of a shirt. So this is actually adjustable to any number of positions, but essentially the idea is that this would hang on the little hanger part there, and then it's got a clip. So we'll take a quick look around what the interaction with the device looks like. So I'm going to press the power button on the side, and one of the things to watch out for here is how quickly the device boots up and how quickly we can start recording with the device. That's largely thanks to the high specification, the up-to-date version of processor, memory and software that's on the device. And we are ready to record from there. So what we're seeing on the device at the top is the resolution and frame rate that's recording. You'll see that we've got GPS, and there's a small green arrow there which indicates that we have a signal. We have an indicator for the battery status. At the bottom we have details for the current file name and available space on the device. If we press this menu button on the left hand side, I'll run you through what's available on the menu. What's available on the menu can be controlled via firmware settings software on a PC, so you can basically control what the user can see, or indeed if they can see anything. So we can change normally here the recording resolution and frame rate, the recording quality, the encoding type. So H.265 is the latest encoding type. Saves about 40 to 50% of the file space compared to H.264. Resolution for streaming, so if you're within Wi-Fi range, or in the future when we make this available with a cellular connection, if you're streaming the video to a monitoring station, then what the resolution is for the stream. The picture size when you're taking a photo, and burst shots, so if you want to keep taking successive photos. settings for USB, 3G, GPS, how the screen behaves in terms of automatically turning off so that the battery is preserved so the screen isn't always on, how recording is activated, so at the moment it's recorded simply by pressing a button, but there are options for automatic activation, overwrites, so in the very unlikely event that you fill up your device, then instead of not recording it will overwrite old files. That's the intention of the overwrite mode, but you can turn that off. Infrared, so that's to switch into using infrared light when it's dark. The volume of the microphone, so that can be set accordingly, and the speaker volume, which is currently set quite low. Voice reminders, vibrate reminders, so if the device isn't active then it can remind the user of that. So if it basically senses that there's activity or hears that there's activity and you're not recording, then there can be reminders set for that. External audio, so it's possible to connect an external microphone as well as an external camera to the device for extra video feeds that can be recorded on here. And a predefined file length so that you don't have enormous single files, and so that it's easier to organize files. We have a predefined file length of 5 minutes that can be adjusted, but it just helps with organization. Also, depending on where you're storing your files, it's usually easier to work with a limited file size rather than an unlimited one. Whether the recording itself is encrypted. Pre-recording, so this would mean that the device is always recording, so that when you hit record you get a certain amount of time, say sort of 20 seconds before you hit record, so that you don't miss anything. Same with post-recording, so that if you hit stop and then you're like, oh no, I missed something, it would have actually recorded a tail. So a tail on either end of recordings can be configured. How the time is synced on the device. There is a laser pointer on the device. You can press a button on the device to see where the device is focused. And password that's set on the device. Language, talk group. This is for peer-to-peer, like a radio function, which we currently haven't made available, and some more info on the device. So that's a quick look through the settings. So if we want to record on the device, I'm going to basically press and activate the button on the top here. I press that and the device makes a noise to indicate it's recording, and what we see on the screen is the timer ticking along saying that it's recording. And we've got a green arrow for GPS, so that is being recorded with a GPS position, so that we can replay this in specific software and see where the camera is on a map during the time of the recording, even if that person is moving around. To stop, we simply press the button again and we stop recording. Alternately, we've got the take a photo button, so if we press that, then it captures a photo and stores that to the internal storage. If we find ourselves in a situation where we want to record what's going on in terms of the audio, but for some reason we shouldn't be taking video, there could be particular reasons for that, such as for example children or particular things that are limited from being recorded, then we can press that button and then we are recording audio only, and again to deactivate that. If we want to play back anything that we've recorded on the device, again this is something that we can configure, and this can be limited so that the person that holds the device can't play back, but by default it's enabled. We can hit the back button and then we've got access to video, photo and audio that is on the device. Then we can see that we have video, photo and audio that are recorded to the device, and then we've simply got up and down buttons. We can go back to, we can take a look at video, we've got access to everything that's recorded, and we can play back directly on the device. So the button on the right here with a light bulb indicator on it is actually a targeting light, so it's a targeting laser. So if I point that to the camera, you should be able to see that laser come on, and if I point that to the to the ground below me, then you can see that that is a laser. It's a very low power laser beam, that's not going to hurt anybody's eyes, but that just allows us to be able to be aware of where the camera is pointing. Additionally, on the front of the device are LED lights and infrared lights. These work automatically in low light conditions, and I'm going to show you some video playback to show you what low light recording looks like. And actually the performance of the device really stands out in low light environments.